Welcome, Stop the Fight. And today we are recapping this weekend's action with Lomachenko and Comey. Let's go! Okay, so the Lomachenko by decision pick, it held for us +2 something, right? Now I will admit right away, that should not have held. We should have lost this bet, and it would have been a all around kind of a loss of a weekend. But the Lomachenko by decision held. He utterly dominated Richard Comey. And in the 7th round, after knocking him down, he should have went and got the stoppage. But instead, Lomachenko decided to point at the corner and request that the corner throw in the towel. I believe, okay, if you kind of point at the corner or the ref and hint that they should stop the fight and they don't do it, you have to stop the fight. Lomachenko took way too long over there, straight talking to the corner. I think he wasted maybe upwards of 30 seconds trying to convince the corner that the fight should be stopped. Guys, this is a champion. It's not a championship fight, but this is an eliminator for the right to fight a champion. Nobody wants that fight stopped. And yes, Comey had no shot of winning by the 7th round. Once that knockdown came, that was a heavy knockdown. I felt that Comey didn't even have the power anymore to even land the lucky shot. And I told you guys from the beginning why I did not believe that, why I didn't like the under, but, as it may have won, is that I thought the best chance for the under was to, ideally, Comey win, not ideally, but I guess in the layman's kind of analysis of the fight is that you're thinking that the heavy-handed Comey can catch Lomachenko, but I've said Lomachenko's already fought many real nasty power punches, whether it be Walters or Teofimo or even Solito's not a light-handed guy. He hasn't been hurt. Linares, heavy-handed fighter. He has been down one time with Linares, but he has never been hurt. At least not very visibly hurt. So I never believed that. It's actually one of his attributes, a good chin. So I never believed that Comey was going to get him out of there early. My whole bet hinged on the fact that I thought Comey was durable enough to make it all 12, and he partly was. Let's nip in the butt the whole narrative where Lomachenko took the foot off the gas. No. Stop it, guys. He did not take the foot off the gas. He couldn't get Comey out of there. That's what happened there. He had the chance in the 7th, and then when he wasn't able to get him out there in the 7th, he took a large portion of the 8th off, if I remember correctly, or the 9th. He took a large portion of that round off to recoup himself, which is normal. Like I said, he's 33 years old now. This isn't a spring chicken Lomachenko. This is Lomachenko from 2014 that beat Gary Russell Jr. Wow, it's 2014. That's not that Lomachenko. This is the Lomachenko of 2021, almost 2022, a 33-year-old Lomachenko. This Lomachenko has, I do believe he is on the physical decline. Obviously, he's still a pound-for-pound fighter. But, he could not. He tried to get Comey out there, but he couldn't. Comey was still firing back body shots. He was still relatively dangerous after the knockdown. I don't think he was in... he had the power anymore, nor did he have the reflexes to stop Loma. Certainly not with one shot, but he did have enough to hurt Loma. And you don't want to get hurt in boxing fights ever. Your career is limited, and taking unnecessary damage, it's just going to shorten your career more so than it already is by Father Time. How many years does Lomachenko have on the top? 2, 3, if he's lucky, about 36. Obviously, we'll talk about this guy, but donaire at 40 at a much lower weight class is still clearly sparking dudes out. But we'll talk about him later. But generally speaking, by the time you're in your mid-30s, you're done, especially at lightweight. So here, Frampton, obviously. So here we have Lomachenko. He schooled him. I scored it loosely, 12 rounds to none with the knockdown. So 121, 107. Now, did I think that there were a couple of rounds that could have went to Comey's way? Yeah, I thought the one that Andre Ward scored for Comey, and one more could have maybe got to Comey. But that's it. There were 3 rounds that were even up for discussion, I remember thinking, as I was scoring them. And that's really it. But realistically, I think you got to split the difference. So maybe you give him 2 rounds, maybe you give him 1 round. So I think the scorecards here were good. 119, 108, and 117, 110. I think 117 and 110 is the closest you can possibly have it. That means you gave Comey every possible round you can give him. And the 119s, 108 seem right. You know, Comey took one of those 2 rounds. I said there were 3 that were kind of close, but it's really just those 2, the one that Andre Ward gave him, and the first round. But that's similar. I don't know. I don't remember the last time Lomachenko's won a first round. At least not clearly. He wins first rounds often, but not clearly, that is. And one of the reasons is because he's looking at the angles. He's feeling them out. But the speed difference here and the angle difference in the punch selection, guys, there's very much look like 2 completely different ballpark fighters. It looked like somebody from the minor leagues is facing a complete high level pro. I mean, it wasn't even close at all at any point. One of the things that you did notice also was just how much smaller Lomachenko was. He was significantly smaller, significantly shorter reach. Didn't matter. Did not matter. At the same time, you know, while we are singing his accolades, he didn't show me anything to suggest that he could beat a Teofimo Lopez in a rematch. He looked like how he always looks when he's looking good. He looks like an undersized 130-pounder fighting at 135 and beating guys simply because he's that much more skilled. He looks like a supreme 126-pounder, as a matter of fact, fighting at 135. That's what he really looks like. You know, he looks like he can easily make 130. Easily. That's just the way his body looks. He didn't look particularly defined. He looked like he actually maybe lost a little bit of muscle mass, muscle tonus, but again, that comes with being a little bit older, unfortunately. I'll talk about this for only a little bit. So there was a little bit of controversy in some corners of Twitter where Lomachenko in this post-fight did not raise a Ukrainian flag, but instead raised the flag of a city, Belgorod. I forgot exactly the full name of it. But this Belgorod flag, which looks like a Spanish flag with grapes. Now, this caused quite a stir right now. So, you know, obviously there's a geopolitical situation occurring between Ukraine and Russia right now. And to not wave a Ukrainian flag was taken by some Ukrainians. Klitschko himself, Vladimir, not Vitaly, although I'm pretty sure Vitaly thinks the same way. They kind of started to get uppity and, you know, calling Lomachenko non-patriotic. But to those of you listening who don't know, guys, Ukraine is a very divided country and culture. There's, a matter of fact, probably 2 or 3, maybe even 4 different cultures in Ukraine. People have very different political affiliations, different sympathies, different cultural and civilizational leanings. So, is what Lomachenko being accused of true? I don't know, but I am just mentioning that that they caused a little bit of a stir where he chose to represent the flag of a city rather than his country, especially in today's in the current geopolitical environment. Now, let's talk about what's next here. Let's talk about what's next. Well, I think Lomachenko very clearly proved currently. I mean, not very clearly, but in my eyes right now, at lightweight, this is going to be maybe a little bit controversial. He's the best fighter at lightweight. He is the best fighter at lightweight, in my opinion. I believe any fight with George Kambosos or Devin Haney, you have to favor Lomachenko. So for Kambosos, here's why. Kambosos is a boxer, right? He's gonna be bigger than Lomachenko for sure. I don't think it'll matter the size here, but he's a boxer who relies on his jab and who does not pack that much power. That means you got to box at Lomachenko for 12 rounds to win. That is a tall order. Devin Haney, very similar. Now, I've seen him get stunned numerous times against lesser opposition. Devin Haney's young still, I think, and he has these lapses mentally, it seems like, during fights. So does Gervonta, but Gervonta has such nasty power that it equalizes those errors. So I think at lightweight, with Teofimo going up to 140, Lomachenko's probably the best lightweight, even though he's beltless. I think that he would beat Kambosos in a unification, or I guess it's a title fight now would be unification. Um, we just have to wait and see who's getting who next. Now, in terms of Comey, I think can still beat a lot of fighters. Like um, I think with Haney would have to be careful. We've now seen Haney get stunned, like I said, a couple of times in his past few fights. I think he can easily outbox Comey in a similar way that what's his name, Lomachenko did. But the fear of a knockout loss would be there, and if a fight like that is made in the future, I would probably slam money on Comey, not because I believe Comey would win, but because the odds would be huge in your favor, and the chance for an upset would be I think, quite live. The only fighter I believe Lomachenko would have very severe problem with at this weight, or severe problem, I shouldn't say that. He would have a problem with a lot of these guys. But the ones that I think he may potentially lose outside of obviously Teofimo, who's not fighting at this weight class anymore, would be Gervonta Davis. Why? Gervonta Davis can absolutely equalize things with his power. He has more power than Comey, and at points, the body shots were making him uncomfortable, making Lomachenko uncomfortable. Comey's body shots, that is. That I believe Gervonta Davis can replicate something similar and fight in a similar way to Teofimo. In other words, be sharp and powerful enough early on to bang up enough rounds to then just win a decision going away. And even though I believe the fight was close with Teofimo and Lomachenko, I think I had it 7-5. Lomachenko just gave away the entirety of the first half of the fight. So again, congratulations to us. I mean, to me and to anyone else who took my call, which was again, you take Lomachenko by decision, and Comey to win outright. I think Lomachenko by decision again was +2 something. So you should have 3 times your money there. And because for me, my other picks were wrong this week, and this is going to happen. Technically, like I said, this should have been an entire loss, but Lomachenko coming through the way he did and making an error, really, it was a bad judgment call by Lomachenko. Compassion does not serve you in the boxing ring or in any fight sport. Compassion is for the outside of the fight sport. You don't show, especially too much compassion. I understand. I remember Roy Jones did it. I remember, as a matter of fact, Roy Jones had it done to him by Lebedev. Lebedev had him knocked out, but he turns to the refs, says, "What do you want me to do?" The refs just continue the fight, and Lebedev KO'd him. I guess that's a little bit ironic there. But Lomachenko spent too long talking to the ref about the stoppage, the ref for the corner, and he cost himself an actual stoppage. Hey, saved us some money, so I'm not gonna complain. Dimitri Bivol fought. I'll talk about this very quickly. I saw highlights of the fight and watched it live. Yeah, it was a Bivol performance. He just was completely outclassing Umar Salamov with his jab. I mean, it was, again, not an action-packed fighter. I still believe he's extremely undersized for light heavyweight, but not as skilled as Lomachenko, as we've seen him struggle with the likes of Craig Richards. That if he stays at 150, 175 at light heavyweight, he will lose up here. This is out without a question. The Canelo fight, he'll never get the fight because he can't generate enough excitement. Canelo's a money fighter. He's not going to fight some unknown guy who's a good boxer. I know people are saying, oh yeah, because he may make Canelo look bad. I don't think he makes Canelo look bad. Nothing of his past few fights have shown, even the Joe Smith Jr. fight, nothing of the past 4 fights have showed me that Dimitri Bivol has what it takes to really threaten Canelo over a 12-round fight. So, congratulations to Dimitri Bivol, but not enough to gather our attention or warrant a Canelo fight, that is. And let's talk again, 2 seconds. Katie Taylor outboxing quite easily the Kazakh woman, Firuza. And like I said, I was wrong here. I said you can take Katie Taylor by KO. No, she just doesn't have enough power. And honestly, the Kazakh was a little bit better than I had given her credit for. Nonetheless, it was a pretty wide decision for Katie Taylor. Like I said, there was no point. I know the Kazakh was plus 1,000, but you need to have proven knockout power like Natasha Jonas to be able to hurt Katie Taylor and dissuade her from just throwing a bunch of punches. You know, it's like I said, I keep bringing up Amir Khan, but you must be able to, you know, dissuade a large volume puncher with power, because you threaten him or her by knocking her or him out in between combinations, or at least having the threat to do so. The Kazakh did not. So therefore, you know, like with Jennifer Hahn from the previous fight, you need power. That power, I'm not going to take you to win. I know they're trying to set up Serrano. We'll see. We'll talk about that fight when that comes here. Now, this is the one that I was most confident in, and in terms of the upset, but one that I'm kind of in a way. Yeah, I'm not too upset. The first ballot Hall of Famer, Nonito Donaire, absolutely sparked Raymond Gaballo with a body shot in the 4th round. He was winning the fight at that point on all the judges' scorecards, but myself too, I thought the writing was on the wall. I thought Gaballo would do better, but no. You know, this Nonito Donaire 118 is a big fella. And he's a big, strong fella, and it's going to take a special fighter like Inoue, who fights tomorrow, to win. Yeah, so, you know, obviously I was betting on the upset, but nope, not this time, guys, not this time. And again, congratulations to the Filipino Flashweight. 39 is still a beast, an absolute beast at 119 pounds. Well, that's a quick recap of this weekend. We have, again, more action-packed weekends coming up. I'll talk to you guys on a Thursday. It's over.